All right, welcome back to the channel. This is part two. Now we are going to tear the whole motor down. So first things first, turn the top end off. You need an Allen for these two bolts right on the top. Pull your valve cover off. So we're going to do that. And now it's important, I got a tray here so we can set everything in there. So we can keep everything separated. And so you pull these two bolts off, and then there's these little rubber washers that are underneath these bolts. You just want to keep those with the valve cover themselves. I usually will leave this gasket that's right here on there. Flip that up. And now what I like to do is, because your timing chain is really tight, you're going to take off your tensioner, which is right here. So we'll pull that out, loosen that up, and then we'll pull the 10mm bolts out of here, so we can pull your cams out. Same thing, Allen wrench, different size, one smaller for your chain tensioner. And so if you're ever going to check your valves and you've never checked your valves, which I'll probably cover in the video when we put it back together, but this is what you want to do. You just want to pull your valve cover off, set your timing marks down here. So you rotate it with this. There's a line with a T, which is top dead center. You want to make sure you're on top dead center, and then make sure your timing marks are lined up here and here. Like I said, we'll do it when we put it back together. But that's essentially how you check your valve lashing. So anyway, you pull this tensioner off here. Now it's got a spring in here, so just be aware of that. Also has a gasket here, so you can save that. And again, I throw my bolts back through this when I set this in here. So that, you can see there, loosen up your chain. So we can pull the tops of these off, which should be 10mm. So those are loose. And if you never had these apart, there's obviously, if you look at it, there's two sizes of bolts. There is two long ones, two shorties. Short ones, long ones. It's pretty obvious where they go when you look at this. So you get these all loose. And you should be able to pop it off. Just work it back and forth, or you can get a little screwdriver and help lift it off. Now it does have dowels in these. I usually will pull them out and set them in the dowel pin holes so that it all stays together. There's the other one. Now I'm going to pull this cam out. And you just rotate it. Rotate the cam this way, and then you can pull your chain off, drop your chain in there, and you got your exhaust cam. Again, I like to set them all together, and then I put them in top of my valve cam lid, all the parts. That's the exhaust side together. Also, when you're taking these apart, you want to be careful, especially when you put it back together, is these right here. That right there, make sure you put that in there with your cam gear. And when you're putting it together, you obviously don't want to drop that down in your motor. That is no fun. I've done that. Sucks to get out, but you can get it out if you're lucky. Tilt the motor on its side, or shake it upside down, or pull the motor completely apart again. Anyway, so we're going to pull these off. This is the intake side. And yeah, I could use an impact to pull it apart, but I don't. It's noisy. Again, pull these out and slide them in this side. That way you don't lose them. And then again, the bolts, you set the bolts in this way, just so everything stays together. Obviously this side comes out, and a lot of times what I'll do, the chain don't really matter as much, but to keep the chain out of the way, after I pull this out, again, there's one of those clips. A lot of time I'll run a zip tie through the chain and then just put it around your exhaust bolt here to keep the chain up out of the way. Again, all this is going together. All in one side right here. Your intake, your exhaust, they're all together, all the bolts together. Try to stay organized when you're putting it together. So we got that. You have to pull the top head off. You got the two Allens here, and then you got your stud bolts down there, but we're going to loosen these right here, and we're going to loosen the bottom one too, because we are going to pull that off. Now your head bolts, I believe, Oh, I was going to be wrong. I was going to say they're going to be a 14, but they're going to be a 12 millimeter. And they're torqued on there, so just to make life easier, maybe and just get a bigger wrench with a little bit of leverage. They're usually not too bad. Okay, and there's 4 of these. Oh, yeah. So if you've never had the LTR motor apart, there is 2 down there, 2 right there, and 2 on the outside right there. Again, when you torque, you want to torque those up. I don't have it wrote down, but when we put it back together, we'll go over that. So you just want to loosen these up all the way. And when I put it together, I hand tight them. I usually don't use a Torx wrench or anything, or a impact. I obviously Torx them to the torque specs when I put it back together. Now you can pull these out. And then we want to pull these Allens out. And when you go to put these back in too, you want to make sure that you tighten these up, but you also want to make sure you start these Allens before you tighten these up so that the holes are lined up perfect. Just from experience. So we should be loose, and sometimes these inner bolts will fight you. So sometimes you can use a magnet. And pull them out. Now you don't have to necessarily pull them out, but just you lift them out of the hole, and then move your chiming chain. Then your head's off. Again, so there's a difference in the head bolts. There's the gray ones and the black ones. And the gray ones are longer. They go on the outside. The black ones go in the inner. Again, I put all that together and set it over here on the side. And so that'll give you your bottom cylinder, which you can pull your gasket off. And we're going to pull that out. You don't have to. You don't have to pull that out. I just wanted to rotate this. If I can find my wrench. So pull the Allen head off. The rest of the cylinder will come off. You can pull this out. This one stays inside, and then you're good. Stay tuned here. Okay, so pull this Allen. And set that aside. I'm going to rotate the piston back in the hole here. Now this also has dowel pins. You can see one of them came out, the other one didn't. You want to pull, make sure you pull those out. Slide them in there. So your top end's off. Now your bottom end is, we'll pull the bottom end off. We'll start, we're in neutral, so that's good. We'll pull the shifter off. I think it's a 10. It's an 8. be right back and I get a fun extension. All right, so we're pulling the clutch side off. Let me adjust this camera. So you'll have 2 long bolts up here, 2 short ones on the bottom. I got them loose already, so. Um, 10 millimeter. Right. Yep. So loosen these up. Break them loose, and then they're long-winded. And then you can pull this out, all your plates and everything. Actually, pull this out too. It's for your clutch, goes in there. And then so when you're pulling the clutch out, let's see, you have the smash washer that's around here, so you find the smash part, straighten that out so you can take the nut off. And we'll do that, and then we'll pull the basket out, and then usually you can throw your plates back in your basket once you pull that out, and stay tuned for that. All right, so you get this, smash down the washer, then you take the nut out, and again, when you pull this nut out, you can see that the inside of this is not threads like the inside of this one, so it goes on a certain way. Otherwise, when you go to tighten this up and you put it back together, it will rattle your basket. So you want to make sure that the side that has the non-threads all the way down go inside. So with that loose, you can pull your basket out, or that portion of it. Now you can't pull this part out until you pull your case off. So we'll do that right now, and that's going to be an 8mm. What's up, Kit Kat? So we'll loosen up all these. I think that's all of them. Now, you'll see some of these are longer than others. And I made a video about this. So your long ones, I just put a little black mark on so that you it's a lot easier when you put it back together. So you can see you got bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, bolts down here, down here, down here, over here. You got 2 here, 1 here. You might have to pull this one. So we'll pull these out. Now you want to make sure you got a container for your bolts. And like I said, here's a long one, there's a short one. So I just took a black felt top marker and marked a little spot right here on the long ones. And as you go through, you can see these are all shorties. This one's a long one. So we'll take a marker, mark it, shorty, long one, got a mark on that one, that's a shorty, and that's a shorty. I don't know if I gotta pull that one out. Yeah, so you, that should be all of them. So, you gotta remember when you're pulling this outer clutch, your outer case off here on your clutch side, you have one right here where your oil filter is. It is actually it's a really long one. So once you pull that off, your case will come off. And then you can pop your basket off here. And now with the basket off, what I like to do is I'll take the clutch and pull the plates. We'll pull all the plates off of it. Set it back in there, and then I'll throw the plates back in here. Just and then put the nut back on there. And I'll actually take all the plates. See if I can get lucky here. And throw all the plates in here. And just only doing this just so it takes up less room up here. Then you got on the bottom of that, you got this little washer with bearings, so I want to make sure this stuff stays together. You can actually even set your springs in here if you want to. Keep that together, and then set that back in there. Obviously you're going to take your gasket off and end up using a razor knife, or I wouldn't use a razor knife personally. Use a putty knife. Something that's flat. It's got a good edge on it. And this also has dowel pins in it that you'll keep in there, but I mean, that's pretty much it for your outer case on that side. Before we even take any of this apart, we'll go to the other side. Flip it over. And we'll pull the stator cover side off. What's up, kitty cat? Oh, we missed one right here. So I do this is the stator side, so I like to have a box separated and do the same thing with your bolts. This is an obvious long one, but I'll still mark there, even though it's pretty obvious. And you can see the difference. There's a shorty and a long one. Long one's up here. Let me just do a little mark on the case. Long one down here on the bottom. Another long one. This one comes with a little clip. It's a long one. It might all be long ones. With my luck. That's a shorty. And those are shorties. And that's a shorty. And that should be it. So, it's your stator side. You got a bolt here. You got a bolt here. You got bolts down here and here. You got a bolt here. Two up here by your starter. And this should come off. And now it's magnetic. So it's going to be stuck on there good. So we got that off there. Obviously your gasket's gonna be garbage. And so we can clean that up. So we got that off. We can actually pull your flywheel off too. But you also want to pull these out, these Allen heads, because it goes with the wiring. So we can leave it all here with that. So we will take my Allen and I'll pull this off too because I don't need it. That is my chain guide. So we pulled that off. Set that aside. I was pulling this off so we get smaller. We can pull this off. Bolts go on the stator side. And something important is this is for your clutch. There's a ball right here with the spring. Pull those out. Keep that stuff together. I believe that is for your neutral indicator for your lights. So we have that off. That is your stator side. So we can bust this off, pull the stator out, and I'll get right back. All right, so I do got a cool tool that I bought, and one that didn't work, which I might look up later. Anyway, so when you're pulling this off, this tool that I bought from Tusk, I might have got it off Amazon or Rocky Mountain, to hold this, so you can loosen this up, also so you can tighten it up. Super handy, and it wasn't that expensive, but worth it. I could have put it on there a lot better than that, but but it's super simple, very handy. This other tool I bought would work really good. I'm gonna look it back up, but this goes on your clutch side to hold that tight while you put it together. The problem is I bought it off Amazon, and that is too small. So maybe I messed up when I ordered it, but cool little tool. Anyway, so we got that loose. So you'll want to pull this out and then pull this gear, and then you should be able to pop that off there. I could be wrong. Bye. See you, Mom. All right, so I had to find some tools. Flight wheel puller. And then you'll want to shoot, wrong side. We're going to put this back on so we can hold it. Super handy tool. So you'll pull this off. You'll also notice that it's got a pin right here. That's your pin right there. So make a spot for all of this. This is also your gear. Comes off of there. And you can take your timing chain out. That up there. And one thing we'll do before we stop, we'll pull the sprocket off. Maybe. You want in on this? Want to shoot a video? Jesus.